Hey, shalom, 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 shalom. Alright, this is Naaman from the DC camp, branch of Great Millstone. Back for another video. Mr. Shaheed here from the Middle Nation is going to go in on America. Alright, and how, well, he's going to touch on how simple Americans are for believing the bullshit, the propaganda that was taught to us, how we were conditioned. And you know, this is especially all right, something that Jake should take to heart, all right, because it affected us even more so, being at the condition that we're in. Alright. Wow. When you really think about it. But first and foremost, call hello Yahweh. Hashem Yahushua Hashem HaKadosh. Alright. And once again, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations also go out to the fellow Akim that are out there on the highways and byways, pushing this truth across the four corners of the earth, trying to wake up the remaining hopeful elect. Alright. Alright, as I was saying, yeah, he goes in, and again, this is why we always stress, alright, this was never meant for us. This is, alright, we're still in our captivity, as it says in Baruch 3 and 8. Alright, we're yet this day in our captivity, we still are. But you can't tell the average Jake that, because again, he's been conditioned from birth, generation after generation after generation. Yeah, you know, you keep your nose grindstone, go to school, you know, all this shit that just gets you indebted to this wicked ass system. Alright, again, another form of slavery. So let's go ahead and start the video. I don't want to, you know, ramble too long, and just keep scriptures in mind. Micah 2 and 10, something we often bring out. Hebrews 11, chapter 14, 15, Hebrews 13, 14th verse. Alright, so here we go.
When you talk about the global south, you say our country, as if you're from...
This was never meant for us.
You are a white American, after all. How do you reconcile that?
Well, I say our people, and I say our countries, with regards to the Muslims and the Muslim lands, because I'm a Muslim. The history of the Muslims is my history. The Muslims are my family. That's my nation. The Ummah is my nation. Being American isn't.
And slack you for that, but let's get one thing clear, because I done messed up. Hold on. Yeah, it's right here. Okay. So this Muslim bullshit, that's Ishmael's thing. We don't, you know, although I use, and as a matter of fact, let me get this while I'm thinking about it. This is copyright disclaimer. Alright, it says under section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use, because like I always like to say, I'm not profiting off of this, nor do I intend to. This is strictly educational purposes, research, etc. Alright. Yeah, so let's continue.
But you are a white American, after all. How do you reconcile that?
Well, I say our people, and I say our countries, with regards to the Muslims and the Muslim lands, because I'm a Muslim. The history of the Muslims is my history. The Muslims are my family. That's my nation. The Ummah is my nation.
And I also like to point out that you have to consider what they did to us as a people before Edom got a hold of us, you know, on this side of the world. Alright, what did Islam do to our people? Force them, you know, at the end of a sword. And, you know, unfortunately, a lot of Jake to this, you know, today into the Islam, you know, They got that demon on them. But yeah, just bear in mind, we're not promoting or Islam or that Kemet bullshit either. Okay.
Being American isn't a citizenship; it's a condition. And once you realize that you have that condition, you can spend the rest of your life trying to recover from it. It's like PTSD. You have American dissonance syndrome. And if you reach adulthood and you're still patriotic,
let's look up that word, because we know what cognitive dissonance is. All right. Let's see. I think that's the way to do it. All right. Dissonance, a harsh, disagreeable combination of sounds, discord. Or don't that fit the American? That's all they do is sow discord around the world. It says lack of agreement, consistency, or harmony. Conflict. That's what they're all about. All right. Remember, we were talking about Edom. We're talking about the red man, the real red man. And as such, let me get this. What is he doing throughout the earth? All right. I'll come back to that. Let's go to Revelation. All these scriptures are right on point. What was it prophesied? What is his blessing? All right, this is Revelation chapter 6, verse 4. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. Wow. Get a load of that. Even down to King David was talking about. Look at this. It says, arise, O Most High Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down. Who is he talking about? Deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. This is who we're talking about. All right. The wicked, ultimately the wicked. And this is how the other Edomites despise Americans. The American Edomite is exceptionally wicked. Now, overall, we know that Amalek runs everything. All right.
You have the most profound case of Stockholm Syndrome imaginable, because that society has deeply, deeply wronged you.
Yep.
I mean, when you say that someone is an American...
Just when he says, have wronged you, just think of Jake. Whether he's singling us out in his mind, I do not know. But who more so is this speaking to and about than Jake? After all he's done, I often use the example of Stalin's chicken. Look it up. Whether it's true or not, the example applies to Jake. No matter how America fucks over Jake, he's always there. Loyal.
Basically, you're saying that they were an abused child, psychologically abused, emotionally abused, mentally abused, educationally abused, and abused in every other kind of way. You've been lied to. You've been programmed with dysfunction. Your intellect has been systematically degraded.
Now, keep in mind, he's talking about Americans in general. But who more than your average American is this talking about? Keep that in your
intellectual and your moral depth has been deliberately depleted to make you shallow.
Deliberately.
Cognitive dissonance has been inflicted on you your whole life. When you say American, you may just as well say damaged.
Yeah.
Or victimized. You come from a country that has a fabricated national identity around a set of values and principles it never ever applied anywhere.
Exactly, not even to its own citizens, namely Jake. It's bullshit. It's a lie. And they have the nerve to tell other people how to handle their affairs, because America is supposed to be so exceptional. That's why these motherfuckers are hated throughout, which is going to lead to what? Ultimately, Revelation chapter 17.
Anywhere. And in fact, more often than not, only ever applied the opposite. You live in a country that is demonstrably and obviously an authoritarian oligarchy, but which you have been taught since childhood is a democracy. No one living in America today has lived under any administration that wasn't guilty of war crimes and crimes against humanity.
Especially the so-called black man. They make sure to let you know every day of your life you're under a constant fear, and this is done on purpose. This goes back to the plantations to keep you niggers in line. At any time, I can take your life, and you have to know that. You have to be aware of that.
Both abroad and on domestic soil. And you've been brainwashed into thinking that your country stands for freedom and justice. That's sick. The education system is based on the Prussian system of indoctrination to turn every student into an obedient, conformist slave to power.
Yep.
But you pretend that your society cherishes individuality. They've done nothing but...
It says, haven't you learned anything from the past? Let's just say from 2010 on. You don't have to go back further than that. Because after 9/11, alright, we know that was an inside job. Things, and that was done on purpose. Alright, because as someone said, the Constitution is nothing but a piece of paper. They were letting you know. Actually, it started, I think, back under FDR. Alright, they were letting you know, and this is W, that, they were dismantling all this, your so-called rights and all this that you still, to some of you, believe that you have to this day, but you don't. You'll see people like myself, we love seeing this, because in the words of Dr. Cornel West, and I must admit, he coined this perfectly. He says, you white folks, you're being niggerized. You're finding out how it is to be me on a daily basis, and you don't like it. Every day that I go out, I see it in your faces. It's beautiful. It really is. Let's continue.
But damage you. Your schools have damaged you. Your media has damaged you. Your entertainment, your fake history, your myths, your government.
Fake history.
Nothing but damage you all your life. That's what it means to be an American. And part of that damage, one aspect of that relentless damage, is in the question itself. You're a white American, you said. That matters to you. And you force it to matter to everyone in that country, even though it's an actually completely irrelevant characteristic. But because of the way that you have developed as a so-called society, you made it relevant. And you made it an issue, and you insist on keeping it an issue. So you can never escape. I don't even get to make it irrelevant to me because of the racial history in America. The whole context of race in the United States is a self-perpetuating death spiral that never dies.
Yep.
You assign...
Alright, and it goes back to the late 1600s. Because before then, wasn't nobody called white. Alright, they did this to make a distinction between us and them. And we're still locked into that box that, well, I'm black. Well, do you know, and we have to keep, and it's sad that we have to do this, but we have to keep bringing up the definition of black and white, and you still don't get it. It's amazing. This is witchcraft, people. The things with you can do with psychology, it's all the way to marketing and on this scale. It's a spell. Wow. The things you can do with words. And we're not talking about all this, rhyming and, no. Wow.
Value to all of these characteristics that are actually the least valuable characteristics that a human being can have. I mean, why race? Why skin color and not eye color or hair color? Why not height? It's incredibly arbitrary and stupid. But you did what you did. You drew the lines where you drew the lines, and you sentenced whole segments of humanity to imprisonment within these shallow, superficial, meaningless definitions, which then created a long, disgraceful history of actual experience that millions upon millions of people have suffered.
Yeah, let's go into some of that, we looked at dissonance, all right, we know lack of agreement, consistency. Another one would be honorary, all right, because that's something else that would describe him. I'm not going to get there, look it up for yourself, Onnery, all right. There's another one that describes this piece of shit that we're dealing with that's over us. I used it a couple of years ago. It'll come back to me. But let's just go into something here, because he mentioned, let's see, simple words like, why are we still using this? Being of the color black, producing or reflecting comparatively little light and having no predominant hue. Alright. There's no such thing as black skin. Alright. Black definition. Let's see. Come on now. Having a very dark color of the nice, over relating to any various population groups of especially African ancestry, often considered as having dark pigmentation. But what about Elam? What about the East Indians? Which are darker than a lot of our people. Even Ham, which we are not. We come out of Shem. See how it's confusing. How are you? There's no nationality of black. Alright, look what it says here, dirty, soiled. So this is us. This is absence of light. Let's see. Look at this, old-fashioned, literally, plus literary. It says thoroughly sinister or evil. This is actually what they're calling you when they're referring to you as black, wicked, when they are. Indicative of condemnation or discredit. This is what you're. Wow. Now let's look up white. Hey, you should remember this from Malcolm X, right? Real simple. And they get a kick out of this. Oh, they're calling themselves black. And you come up with the awards for black excellence. What the fuck is that? I don't know why this is well, it's taking so long, but it's sad that we got to do this in 2024. Alright. Again, we are yet this day in our captivity. Baruch 3 and 8. White, having the color of new snow or milk. Alright, free from color, because it's not a color actually. I'm not going to even go into that. Let's see. Look at this. Marked by upright fairness. Don't you know the history of these people? Free from spot or blemish. Free from moral impurity. Innocent. Not intended to cause harm. These are the same definition you saw in Malcolm X. Favorable. Passionate. Notably ardent. The fuck out of here. Alright. I think you get the point. Alright. They have, and this is another, along with the sword, his ability to deceive. And that's Revelation 20th chapter. He was, after the Roman Empire fell, thus began what they call the Dark Ages. And that's because, as it says in Revelation 20, they were bound. They were not able to deceive the nations anymore for a period of what? Roughly 1,000 years. And you had the Renaissance is when they came back into power. And from that point until now, it's that little season. And this is what they've done. All right, they were let loose for that little season to do what they've always done, to deceive the nations. And this is what he's talking about. Everything that we've been telling you, that's why it's good to hear someone else tell it. All right?
For no reason. So everyone who grew up in America eventually has to pursue self-rehabilitation, deprogramming, repair, debugging, detoxification, just to try to undo all the damage that being American has done to them.
Exactly. And I've said this in several of my videos that we as a people were never afforded an opportunity to heal. This is what I was talking about. The constant influx of bullshit. Alright? The steady wicked stimuli that's constantly being through the music, through television, you know, that's coming from everywhere, and you're overloaded. And it's like, what does Jake Trump do? Self-medicate. You see him out on the streets every day. All right, knowing that something wrong, they can't put a finger on it. That's another reason why we're out there trying to get you to understand and telling you, all right, through the scriptures, what the hell. This is the reason why what's going on with us is happening.
So they can try to be normal. To be American is to suffer from a multitude of chronic diseases. It's a condition, not a nationality. It's a condition that every serious and sincere person has to try to cure themselves of over the course of their adulthood. But for most of them, it's a terminal condition. They'll never get over it. They'll die that way. And the sickest part of it is that this condition, you're actually pressured to preserve it, to uphold it, to cherish it, rather than to abolish it. Just like your question, as if I'm doing something wrong by not basing my identity and my worldview and my understanding on the dysfunctional, reductionist definition of white American.
Yep. And this is what makes this captivity for us so much more, what's the word I want to use? Not only different, but it's more, what's that word? Insidious. Let me get that. All right. It makes it so much different. Let me see how my, let's see. I think that's it. This is why this is so much more wicked from, let's see, cities, working or spreading harmfully in a subtle or stealthy manner. But I tell you earlier about psychology. That's what I was talking about. Intended to entrap, treacherous. Let's get the scripture. This is why this scripture is here. All right, let's go back. I think you saw it when I initially, yep, here we go. This is why this is here. Micah 2:10. That's why, even though we try to, as much as possible, filter out all this bullshit, it's next to impossible. That's why we need help. All right, this is why prayer and fasting, but it's got to start with repentance. All right, and sincere. All right, that's why we're going for all after camp. Everybody has to do, Psalms 51. All right, it says, "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted and shall destroy you." Not might. It says shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction. And we were warned about during in ancient times. This was the example set forth. Said when you go into these other lands, All right, don't take up the traditions and customs of these other nations. And this is why. So we go to Deuteronomy 4th chapter, and at the beginning it goes into that. And then verses 5 on down, it tells you that we were supposed to be the example. All right, these laws, statutes, and commandments we were to follow. All right, and we were supposed to be an example for the other nations. But what happened? All right, it says, I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day that ye shall soon utterly perish from off the land whereto ye go over Jordan to possess it. Ye shall not prolong your days upon it, but shall utterly be destroyed. Chapter 30. All right, there's reasons why this happened. All right, Joshua, 1st, 2nd Kings, Chronicles. Let's see, Deuteronomy 12 and 9, it says, For ye are not as yet come to the rest and to the inheritance which the Most High Yahweh your God giveth you. We're not, again, Baruch 3 and 8, we are yet this day in our captivity. We're not free. One of the cruelest jokes ever played on the people was that goddamn Emancipation Proclamation. And you got to this day in these schools, they're teaching that bullshit. And there's so many books that are telling you, even at the time that was presented, you know, to Congress, they knew it was a joke. Psalms 95 and 11, it says, Unto whom I swear in my wrath that they should not enter into my rest. We are there's no other way to say it, we are a fucked up people. All right, Hebrews. All right. Oh my goodness. And it goes back into what? The law. It says, Defile not yourself, this is Leviticus 18 and 24. Defile not ye yourselves in any of these things, for in all these the nations are defiled, which I cast out before you. And the land is defiled, therefore I do visit the iniquity thereof upon it. And the land itself vomited out her inhabitants. Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, and shall not commit any of these abominations, neither any of your own nation, nor any stranger that sojourneth among you, meaning the Israelite foreigners. All right. Ooh, let's see. Psalms 106. Again, reasons why we're fucked up to this day, because we, you know, the definition of holy, one of them is being separate. We just can't keep from wanting to be like the other people. We just we're going over, well, we're still in, we're not finished yet, but 1 Samuel, you know, we want a king because everybody else had a king, and it was explained, well, these are the things a king would do. Oh, man. But again, Jake just, here we go.
I mean, look, for most of the people who are categorized as Americans and who claim American history as their history, who feel some sort of, connection to the so-called founding fathers, Paul Revere, and what have you, most of them only have even been over there for 2 or 3 generations. A smaller number than that's been over there for 4 generations, and very few, except for the descendants of slaves, have been over there since the beginning. The overwhelming majority of so-called Americans throughout most of American history, their families were somewhere else. It's the same with mine. The Irish side of my family came over during the potato famine, and the German side came over more recently than that. Yet for some reason, we're all supposed to believe that we are all somehow connected to the history and the cultural heritage of that country, connected to people that we're not connected to in any way whatsoever, as if they are our ancestors. They even call them our forefathers. What do I have to do with George Washington? America isn't the trouble.
And this is where Jake was really about it. That should make you fucking mad. But Jake has this attitude chiefly because of Christianity. We're all brothers and sisters, which we're not. And he's just explaining, you got these motherfuckers that come over here that are like 3-4 generations, and they're just die-hard American. Well, I'm American. And yet Jake has been over here with descendants, all right, that of the people that were brought over here, And everybody else just treats it like, oh, get over it, blah, blah, blah. No. See, this is the thing also with Jake. We are too inviting of others into our, how am I going to phrase this? We tend to embrace everybody, but nobody wants to embrace us. And again, this is largely due to the fact that the damage, rather, that Christianity has done to us. Christianity, we were taught, is not in the scriptures. Something else that we address. And like it said, Great Millstone, because of Great Millstone and others affiliated, people had to reread their Bibles, and they're saying, this isn't what we were brought up. What the hell is this? And he brought up dissonance. I looked it up. Now you got cognitive dissonance because of Great Millstone. People are rereading the Bible, and actually you're like, oh, okay. So now these other people, now you're seeing what's, again, these scriptures, these prophecies, Revelation 11th chapter, right? Let's get there real quick. Fear fell upon him. Why? Oops, wrong one. Let's go down to, let's see. Let me get the beast shall, who's the beast? The beast shall fight against them and kill them. Talking about the prophets. They lie unburied. And after 3.5 days rise again. Alright. So let's go on down so you get the, let's see, start at, let's see. Hold on. Because what we have here, as far as the witnesses and all that, it's talking about northern and southern kingdoms of Israel, respectively. It says, let's start at 8. And their dead bodies, which we were talking about, remember Proverbs 21 and 16, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. Alright? This is indeed spiritually Sodom and Egypt. This has even surpassed that, actually. Alright? You remember what Sodom was known for? You remember what Egypt was known for? Alright? And they, of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations, shall see their dead bodies. Oh man, these niggers are through. They're never going to come to nothing, So you people, you come out, and all these immigrants have been for the last several years, specifically Moab and Cush, are spilling the beans on what they were told when they initially came over here. You stay away from them niggers. I mean, those African Americans, stay away from them. They're lazy, they're violent. They would tell them all these things, and they stay here a while. Some of them, of course, when they come over here, of course they're gonna, go with the dominant society, of course. Some of them stay in that mindset, but some of them say, no, that's bullshit. These people, and then they see, okay, well, this is why they're like that. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them, and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another, because they celebrate, they enjoy seeing us in this dead state. Alright. Lamentations, 1st and 2nd chapter. Alright, because these two prophets tormented them that dwelt on the earth. Alright. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from the Most High entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, which is what we're doing out there on the highways and byways, on the internet. And great fear fell upon them which saw them. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. And they ascended up into heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. Wisdom of Solomon, 5th chapter. Alright? This will eventually happen. Alright? But now, verse 11, this is what's happening now. Alright? Say, who are these people? Now, think of 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 4 and 5. This is what we're doing. Alright? This, because that those lies, whoops, I said 2 Corinthians, those lies that were told, and this was done intentionally, like I said, Christianity as was taught to us as we were growing up, and those before us and after this age group. Alright? It says, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. We don't need guns and knives and all that other bullshit. That's carnal. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahweh Shem Yahushua to the pulling down of strongholds. What are those strongholds? Lies. It says, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Hamashiach Yahushua. So you're seeing a shift, paradigm shift, however you want to call it. Alright, things that were turned upside down are beginning to be turned right side up again. And we can see it, you know, there's heavy resistance here. Alright, what's going on down in Mexico now? Because looks like they were headed toward being part of the BRICS. Alright, and now all of a sudden, what do you have? You have what appears to be Amalek at the helm down there now. You say, how could these people be so stupid? You know, that remains to be seen. I've heard of a lot of questionable deaths leading up until that. you know how Esau rolls, specifically Amalek, right? Because they see that they're losing their grip. Revelation 12 and 12. You know, he knoweth he hath but a short time. They see this. A lot of you don't. And you're going to regret. You're going to, what's that fancy word? You're going to rue the day. Rue means, well, let's get it. Alright, you come out here and we're out there on the highways and byways. You fan the hand and cuss us. Literally call us everything but a child of, you know, Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Rue, what does it mean? Let's get it. To feel penitence, remorse, or regret for it. Yeah, you're going to do that. Alright. Let's see. What are some of the synonyms? To bemoan, to deplore, to lament. Oh, it's going to be plenty of lamenting when that day comes, because we tried to tell you. Alright? You're going to have a lot of guilt, regret, shame. Alright? A lot of you are. This goes into Daniel 12 and 2. Alright? Which will come later. That's going to, hey, you know, that applies too. But let's see what else he got here, finishing on that, about like halfway through.
Tribe. America is nothing but a blood-soaked piece of land.
Yep.
That a ragtag horde of Europeans fled to escape Europe.
Mm-hmm. Escape.
Then it became a land that people fled to escape American foreign policy that pillaged their own country.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the people that have undeniably been so-called American longer than 99% of so-called Americans, the descendants of African slaves, are still treated like outsiders.
Mm-hmm.
In a country that they've been in longer than most people. They've been there at least as long as the most pedigreed aristocratic so-called Mayflower families. I mean, just on seniority alone, they're supposed to be among the highest status citizens of that country.
How about that?
Their ancestors sacrificed more by force and for more generations than anyone living in America today. But until now, they have to fight just to be given equal rights and equal opportunities on par with people who just got off the boat 3 generations ago.
Yep.
2 generations ago. 1 generation ago. Or yesterday. Let's not even talk about the indigenous people, because of course let's not talk about them. They're never to be spoken of. But somehow we're all Americans. This abstract.
You know, and that's very important because he started off talking about how these wicked pieces of shit came over here. All right, and let's go there because there's consequences for your actions, right? At least that's what they like to tell everybody, until it's, of course, their turn. The cowards that they are. This is Numbers chapter 35. All right, and we get into, let's see, starting at verse 9, the laws of murder and manslaughter. All right, 31, no satisfaction for murder. So let's go on down to 33. All right. Again, this is a blood debt. Money ain't gonna get you out of this. So fuck your reparations. All right, and now I'm gonna get the verse, the reparations that we want and that we're going to get. This is Numbers chapter 35 verse 33. So ye shall not, there it go. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. So your silver, your gold, your platinum, your diamonds, your rubies, none of that's going to matter. All right? Because, like I said, it's a blood debt. And look at that scripture as to how they're going to have to pay. And they will. All right? Let's see. This is going to be Revelation chapter 13. Alright. And our people foolishly think that, you know, through politics, through education, you gotta remember, and it should be common sense, but, you know, hey, you know what they say about common sense. It's not always common, right? Jake has been so damaged that they can't see that your enemy is in charge and controls all of this. It's not going to matter how educated you think you are, how much money you have. Again, he's in control of all this. All right. So for those of you that are on these political party plantations, you know, you're just going to have to find out the hard way. This is why we use verse 11 here. It says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. All right, you've got two main political parties. That's why you're not going to see a Green Party candidate or any other thing get all that money, because they're both about the same thing. Alright, this is how they spend shit. It's nothing but lies, but this is how they do it. You know, this is revived Rome. Alright, you've got two wings that belong to the same wicked, foul bird, but our people actually think there's a difference between them. What can you do? Alright, but here's my point. This is Revelation chapter 13 and 10. It says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Numbers 35 and 33. Alright, here is the patience and the faith of the saints. The saints are the Israelites, and the Israelites only. Alright. Alright. And that's Psalms 1. I might as well get it since I brought it up. This is what we do here. I don't want to leave you hanging. Alright, so this is Psalms 137 or 138. Hold on. Let's see. I think it's 138. Hold on. And 14. Nope. I was right. bear with me. I'll get it. Let's see. Here it is. This is I don't know why I said 137. This is Psalm 147 and 19. It said, He showeth His word unto Jacob, His statutes and His judgments unto Israel. All right. He hath not dealt so with any other nation. As far as His judgments, they have not known Him. Let's go to 48. No, it's only dealing with Israel. It says He exalt. Let's see. He also exalted the horn of His people. This is verse 14. He also exalted the horn of His people, the praise of all His saints, even of the children of Israel, the people near unto Him. Praise ye the Most High Yahweh. There you go. All right. Israel only. Not anything, again, something that Christianity has always taught. Again, this is white supremacy that was taught. Plain and simple. I often say, what is the biggest religion? It's white supremacy. All right, all that's being pulled down. I read 2 Corinthians 10 and verses 4 and 5. All right, that's big stronghold. All right, that's being pulled down. Back to the video.
A fabricated identity that everyone is just supposed to believe in and unthinkingly adopt. Yeah. Because if you didn't, you might actually notice how abstract and how fabricated it is. When it comes to some sort of national identity, country-based, geographically based identity, politically based identity, everyone accepts the idea that you can become integrated into a history that isn't yours. That, for instance, your family can immigrate to the U.S. in the 20th century or the 19th century or the 21st century and get citizenship, and then suddenly you have Abraham Lincoln in your family tree. Everyone accepts that as rational. But when it comes to Islam, for some reason you can't accept it. You can't accept that becoming Muslim connects you to the continuum of Muslim lives, stretching back all the way through the followers of all the prophets. You can't accept that becoming a Muslim makes you a...
Salaki.
of a nation based on belief, even though belief in so-called American values and the American Constitution is supposedly what makes you, or what makes an immigrant an American. An Italian American, a Greek American, a Haitian American, everyone. Everyone recognizes and everyone accepts that those people, immigrants, feel a connection to and still derive their identity from their home country. But being a Muslim American isn't supposed to be like that. George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Roosevelt, Kennedy, all of these men who never believed in or practiced the values that you're supposed to revere them for are supposed to mean more to you than Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, more than the Sahaba, more than all of the Muslims throughout history all over the world who believed in and practiced and lived by the values that you as a Muslim also believe in, practice, and live by. No, sorry. I do not identify with the hypocrites of so-called American history.
There you go.
Who only ever use their preaching of values and principles as a way to mislead and misdirect the population and to distract them from the misery caused by the actual values that they practice.
There you go.
The values of greed and selfishness and white supremacy and classism, materialism, exploitation, theft, murder, and plunder. I was raised in the country where those values were practiced but not preached, and where the values that were preached were not practiced. Just having been born there and just having been raised there does not oblige me to pretend otherwise. No, the history of Islam, the history of the Muslims, that's my history. And that includes Muslims from all parts of the world, Muslims of every race and color, ethnicity, and language.
And there you have it. All right. Israel is about Israel. I'm talking about the Israelites. It's not for everybody. That doesn't even make any sense. Unless, of course, it's a cheap copy. You're borrowing from someone else. All right. they built on someone else's foundation. Ishmael has nothing to do. All right, he got his blessing on this side.
Those are my predecessors. Those are my ancestors. The Ummah is my nation and my national identity, and their history is my history. Being American is nothing but a legal status and an incidental fact of where my parents were when my mother gave birth to me. The rest of it is just damage and programming that I've had to overcome over the course of my life, and superficial characteristics like my language and, certain cultural practices like the food and the manner of clothes that I'm used to, what I'm familiar with. It's like what I talked about before. Being a Westerner, being an American refers more to a mentality than a nationality. And separating that mentality from that nationality is the most crucial thing that any American can ever do for their own mental, spiritual, psychological, and emotional well-being. And I think that any American who does that, who genuinely does that, sincerely does that, well, I think that they will inevitably find that they feel that they have more in common with the people of the global South than with mainstream America, whether they're Muslim or non-Muslim. I personally believe that nothing can actually help you do that, deprogram yourself better than Islam. But even for those who don't embrace Islam, who just try to come to terms with the fallacy of Americanness and Americanism, well, I think that they'll realize how duped and how propagandized and how abused they've been their whole lives.
Another reason that we emphasize this. Get out of that American mindset. Alright? Trying to get Jake to wake up. This is our, or should be our, Constitution. Alright? Again, what did I say about allowing everybody to be amongst us? And we're the only ones that do that, and then wonder why everybody shits on us when they get what they want or wanted.
Now the system over there is parasitically sucking every drop of blood, sweat, and tears out of their beings.
Yep.
And how all of their sacrifices and all of their hard work are being paid back in IOUs and counterfeit bills. I think they realize how they're being conned from the cradle to the grave.
Yep.
All for the enrichment and all for the benefit of people who don't and never did believe in the myths that they tell you about America. They want you to believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they'll start to identify with the oppressed and with the victimized all around the world. Just like how the super rich are a nation unto themselves. America's victims globally should be a nation unto themselves too. America's victims, foreign and domestic. And they should feel and they should build solidarity with one another, because we all have more in common with each other than we have with that predator nation that's been preying on all of us.
America, the predator nation. I think I'll make that the title of this. I think I'll incorporate that into the title of this video. Oh man. Hey, that says it all. It's nothing, I don't believe I left anything out. But that should, for those that see this, yes, we are in a bad way. Alright. This is the purpose of doing videos like this. To help our people wake the fuck up. To see that you were under a spell. Alright. Being taught to look at the world through rose-colored glasses. It's not reality. Oh, but it's coming. Alright. Oh, it's very near, as a matter of fact. So, yeah, once again, this has been from the page here, Middle Nation. They have excellent videos going in on America. This illusion, this spell that people here are under. Everybody from around, most people I should say, They see this. But the American citizen, too caught up in their own pride to realize that they've been fucked. But we don't worry about them. We worry about the few people that realize amongst our people that realize what's going on and wake the fuck up, repent. All right. We're trying to bid you come to the marriage. All right. Because as I say in my opening, time is very short. All right. These prophecies speak for themselves. All right. So with that, once again, I hope whoever views this video is edified. That's what we do here, Great Millstone. Filter everything through the scriptures. Very eye-opening. At least I hope it is to whoever views this video. And again, remember prayer and fasting. All right, very important. So with that, until the next video, hey, shalom, shalom.